If you want to be rich, you absolutely must watch this video until the very end. Look, if you are still trading your soul for some goddamn overtime pay, or you think saving $1 million is your ticket to freedom, I've got some bad news. You've been played. The rules were rigged from day one to keep you on the treadmill. I am not here to feed you that work hard and I'll make it BS that as a consolation prize for losers. We're talking about why your parents, your school, and society itself are all part of a system that keeps you broke. I am Lyndon Kane. Today we re-ripping the sugarcoating off that financial Bible, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, to expose the brutal truth hidden behind the numbers. People ask me, Lyndon, how much is rich? The answer is in T, a number. It S, optionality. The Poor Dad in the book is a mirror for most of you. Ivy League education, top-tier government job. Hell, he was the superintendent of education in Hawaii. Sounds prestigious, right? But he spent his life drowning in debt and taxes, and the moment he pissed off his boss, he was back to polishing his rice sunboyne in his 50s. That S the price of stability. Stability is just a fancy word for handing the remote control of your life to someone else and praying they don't change the channel. And the rich dad, he probably didn't even finish high school, but he understood the one thing schools will never teach you. Don't work for money. Make money work for you. Let S get blunt. Let's talk about the junk on your balance sheet. Rich Dad gave a definition that S as brutal as it is accurate. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out, that BMW on a payment plan depreciating 20% a year. Liability, that dream home you bought with a massive mortgage just for status. Bleeding you dry with taxes and interest. Sorry if it's not generating income, it's a liability. Most people spend their lives frantically buying things they think are assets. You not building wealth. You volunteering to be a slave for banks and insurance companies, even your kids. From a purely financial standpoint, our liabilities, unless they start cutting you a check later, sounds cold. Welcome to the real world. It doesn't care about your feelings, only compound interest. Why is it that the harder you work, the further you get from financial freedom? Because you repaying the highest diligence tax in the world. There are 3 types of income: earned income, capital gains, and passive income. If you trading sweat and time for a paycheck, congratulations, you at the bottom of the food chain. In places like the US or Japan, the government can take over 50% of what you earn, but the guys at the top, Bezos, Buffett, their effective tax rates are often incredibly low. Why? Because they live off capital gains and cash flow. Laws are written by the powerful for the powerful, while you just grinding outside the circle. There are only 4 types of people: E employees, S self-employed, B business owners. I investors schools mostly produce S and S's. They teach you how to be a reliable cog in the machine, or maybe a high-priced cog like a doctor or lawyer. But as long as you trading time for money, you have a ceiling. Your time is finite. Inflation isn't the real players live on the right side, B and I. They leverage other people S time and other people S money. People on the left are running a race. People on the right are driving cars. And tell me, do you really think you can outrun a Ferrari? A lot of people tell me, Lyndon, I am investing too. I bought some mutual funds. I opened a brokerage account. Give me a break. That's not investing. That is praying. Robert Kiyosaki divided investors into 7 levels. Let's see where you land. Ready to get uncomfortable. Level 1, the zero wealth investor. These people have nothing, yet they think buying a Gucci bag or the latest iPhone is investing in themselves. They swap every hard-earned dollar for worthless junk. Half the world is stuck right here. Level 2, the borrowers. They drive leased Mercedes and live in heavily leveraged homes. They look rich, but their net worth is negative. They dancing on a powder keg. One layoff and their prestige pops like a soap bubble. Level 3, the savers. They think stuffing money into a bank account for miserable interest is safe. Listen carefully. Inflation is the invisible tax on the poor. You save. The government prints you not preserving wealth. You watching your purchasing power get slowly butchered. Level 4. The smart investors. This is the most ironic group. They re-educated. Some of them even know how to read a balance sheet. But they fall into 3 traps. First, the don't bother me investors. They hand their money to an advisor and walk away. Remember, nobody cares about your money more than you do. Advisors care about commissions. Second, the cynics. They have 100 reasons why the market will crash. They so afraid of losing that they miss every opportunity to win. Third, the gamblers. To them, buying stocks is just buying lottery tickets. One hot tip and they go all in. That's not investing. That's Vegas without the free drinks. Levels 5 through 7 are where you actually cross the class divide. Level 5, long-term investors. They have a plan, discipline, and they understand the power of compounding. Level 6, sophisticated investors. Think Buffett. They don't obsess over diversification. They focus on what they understand, and when they see value, they bet big. And level 7, the capitalists. This is the end game. They don't buy stocks. They issue them. They don't look for jobs. They create them. They leverage other people's time, money, and brains to build empires. The ultimate form of investing isn't buying in. It's being invested in. When you read the one writing the rules, money is just a digital heartbeat on your screen. Wealth is a race. The guys in front are driving Ferraris while you sprinting behind them, thinking if you just run harder you'll catch up. Don't fool yourself. That's physically impossible. Your only way out is learning how to drive, and that car is financial literacy. Why doesn't school teach this? Because the system needs obedient employees. It needs people who pay taxes on time and keep the consumer machine running. If everyone became a capitalist, who would do the grunt work? So you have to teach yourself. You need to understand tax law, corporate structures, and cash flow management. It's boring, it's painful, but it's your ticket out of the matrix. Most people read Rich Dad, Poor Dad and stay broke. Why? Because they read the story, but skipped the operating manual. They grab the keys, slam the gas pedal, and end up wrapped around a tree. Money isn't the root of all evil. Poverty is. Money is a symbol of trust. It's the scoreboard of the value you create in the world. Stop listening to that. Just be content. Nonsense. That's anesthesia for people who gave up. If you don't want your life to become obsolete by age 30, stop complaining and start building assets. I am Lyndon Kane. Reality is brutal, but I want you to win. See you on the other side.